If you're anything like me, you've probably spent many hours searching for that magic pill that promises to stop social anxiety in its tracks. You read what the next guru has to say on your Facebook feed or come across a YouTube channel that promises to present you with the Holy Grail. You try this type of medication, that type of medication, and maybe even experiment with psychedelics. But you never take any action until you find something that promises to be that miracle cure, but you never find it. Hey there, I'm Neil and I struggled with social anxiety disorder for more than 2 decades. On this channel, every week, I'll be bringing you the best methods and strategies that I've used in my own life to feel more confident. In this video, I'll be going over 4 of the main ways that people search for that miracle cure and why for most of us it doesn't exist. Medication is one of the first options that people will explore. So these will change your brain chemistry temporarily, but they will have no effect on changing the actual associations and neural pathways in your brain that lead to the social anxiety you experience. Medication by itself will not cure social anxiety. You may experience some temporary relief from the anxiety because of the chemical changes, but these changes will wear off after a few hours. They will never be permanent. You will always need to take another pill to get the same effect. So in the long run, medication is just going to be papering over the cracks. It's not actually going to be fixing anything. Before I had any therapy for social anxiety, my doctor recommended that I try taking some medication to see if that would have any effect. I started taking citalopram, an SSRI that's used to treat low mood and panic attacks. I took this for several months and I even upped the dosage, but overall it had absolutely no effect on me. I then moved on and tried taking fluoxetine, which is also known as Prozac. So again, this was similar to the citalopram in that I upped it to the maximum dose that I could have, and I did this for several months, but after all that I didn't have any sort of noticeable benefits from it. Of course, your experience may be different to mine, but these were not the results that I'd hoped for. The next thing that people often do is to be on the lookout for epiphany moments. So these are the things where you're trying to find that one piece of advice, that one thing, that one tip from that book you've read on people skills that will make everybody like you, that will make you be able to connect instantly with everybody you come across. So you devour as many books as you can on social skills and even social anxiety as well, just hoping you'll find that one piece of magic advice. You hope you'll come across that one piece of advice that's so good it would just make all your problems go away in an instant, and you think, yes, this is it, I finally found it. You may read bits of advice like, become genuinely interested in other people, smile, be a good listener, encourage others to talk about themselves. Those were all bits of advice from a well-known book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Obviously it's a really good book, which is why it's still a bestseller many decades after it was written, but it's not magically going to solve all your social anxiety difficulties, and the book itself wasn't actually specifically written for people with social anxiety in the first place. Sometimes you might find a piece of advice and feel really psyched up about it and then be eager to get out in the world to go and practice that, and then you do that for a day or two and afterwards realise that actually very little, if anything, has actually changed, and underneath that you're still exactly the same person. This is something that I do, and I've spent many hours reading books on things like social skills and going on internet forums, but I can honestly say that I've never come across such a piece of magical advice, and the only way that I've got better is by simply practicing just being around people and going to lots of different social events. Sadly, from my own experience, there's not a miracle self-help piece of advice or therapy technique that will change everything in an instance. The only way that I've made progress is just sort of incrementally over time, just gradually going out and doing things, and things get better the more you do it. Another thing that some people try is doing just one big thing that really scares you, really pushing yourself way outside your comfort zone, thinking that if you do that, then it's going to push you so far and you'll realise that there's nothing to be afraid of, and all your fears will just melt away. I've tried doing this sort of thing before, where I gave speeches at Toastmasters where I was really nervous, and I've even done a 12-week improv course where at the end we did a live show in front of about 40 people, and I can honestly say from that was probably one of the most afraid I've been in my entire life, and it really didn't change anything once I did it. I was relieved and I was pleased that I did that, but it really made very little difference to how anxious I felt overall. I know there are some people that say that they just did one big thing, like take an improv class or lie down in the street, and all their social anxieties just melted away. But I would argue that if that's the case, they probably didn't have social anxiety disorder to begin with, because I think when it's that bad, then you're going to have to at least have cognitive strategies. It's not something you can just deal with by using brute force. Another thing that I've tried over the years to inspire me that hasn't really made any difference at all is just reading things like inspirational quotes. These are things like, you wouldn't worry so much about what other people thought about you if you realised how seldom they do, or someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Imagine if today was your last day on Earth, how would you act differently? A lion doesn't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. Instead of worrying about whether you're a good match for other people, think about whether they're a good fit for you. These quotes can be very inspiring and make you think that you've discovered a whole new way of seeing things. Your immediate reaction to reading one of these quotes might be to think, yes, that's it. Why should I care about what other people think about me? I'm sure they couldn't care less. But most of the time, just looking at things from a new perspective isn't going to magically make things change and for it all to go away, because the neural pathways in your brain are still going to exist that are creating the anxiety that's dominating your life. Just like epiphany moments, these are just going to psych you up temporarily until you realise that nothing's changed, and then you just forget about them. I used to think that spending hundreds on anxiety workshops and private therapy sessions would offer the quick fix that I was hoping for. Part of me was just hoping that somebody would say that magic sentence to me and everything would change and I'd know exactly what I needed to do. I was hoping that this would mean that I just wouldn't have to put all the effort in and that somebody else would just fix me. But in reality, it just didn't work like that. A lot of these sessions were really good and they're really, really useful and they taught me so much. And at the time they felt great. I may have left many of these workshops and therapy sessions feeling really psyched up, but a couple of weeks later it faded away as I realised I wasn't cured. So these sorts of things might motivate you to temporarily change, but you have to take away what you've learned from these and you have to actually act on it. Just by talking to someone isn't going to help you by itself. You have to actually take action outside of these workshops and sessions to actually see lasting changes in your life. The real work really starts once the session is over. You can use the high you get from going there to inspire you to keep going. You can keep trying to ride that wave for as long as possible. But really, it's the small habits that you do on a day-to-day basis that are what's going to make a real change in your life. So just like if you want to go to the gym to build a really muscular physique, you have to keep it up consistently. You can't just go every now and then and hope to make a real difference. You need to do the same with your mind as you would with your body. Throwing money at a problem may give you a temporary boost and teach you a lot of really useful information, but it's up to you to apply that in your own life. You can't just expect to throw a load of money at the problem and expect somebody to fix you overnight. Although I've spent quite a bit of money on things like that myself, I definitely don't regret what I've done because it's taught me so much, and I wouldn't be where I am today without those experiences. I'd say one of the most valuable lessons that I've actually learned from spending all the money I have done on trying to overcome social anxiety is that I know that nobody can actually fix me. It's up to me to fix myself. I can learn so much from other people, but it's up to me to put in the hard work. The only real permanent solution to dealing with social anxiety disorder involves changing the neural pathways and associations in the brain. This has to be done by learning new strategies and rational concepts that help to deal with social anxiety. Then these new strategies and concepts that you've learnt have to be put into practice. You have to do them many, many, many times over. Otherwise, these neural associations and pathways in your brain cannot change. Chipping away at your fears and insecurities takes work. The whole process isn't always such a horrible grind though, but it does just take time. And from my own experience, there is no magic pill that will fix everything overnight. If you enjoyed this video and you want to watch more, then check out my next one where I'll be talking about some slowing down strategies that you can use to help deal with some of the symptoms of social anxiety. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.